All right, welcome everybody, to those in the room and those on the Zoom, to the EGPOA 2023 first annual meeting. I say that because now under our system, we have a first annual meeting in the August timeframe for the board of directors election. And then we have a second annual meeting later on in the year after Thanksgiving to adopt our annual budget. So this is our first annual meeting. I'll ask our secretary to call the roll.
Patrick
Here.
earlier in Zoom. Dan
Here.
Tom.
Yes.
Joel Cohn. Joel told me he's not here today, but he'll join us for the organizational piece. Arthur Kaplan. Alana here. Alex here. Zach Siegel. And Hal told me he would not be here today.
All right. It seems we have a quorum. First,
Who's walking in now?
who's
Arthur.
great. Second to come in because we're gonna have a voting item right away. Hey, Arthur,
Morning.
come join us. We've just gotten underway. So the first item for the current board is adoption of July 2023 regular meeting minutes. Got pledge, right?
Pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible. Okay. All right, the first voting item is our July 2023 minutes. Chris emailed those around to the board members, so you should have had a chance to look at those. Anybody have any questions? Hearing none, can I get a motion?
Motion to adopt.
Okay. You'll second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Any recusals? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes. All right, we're gonna move on. We have our counsel for the board, counsel for the EGPOA is back in the room counting the ballots that have come in so far. So items 2 and 3 are the proposal to amend the bylaws and the director election. So I want to acknowledge some questions out there about the timing of everything and how we got to where we are today. We sent out notices at the annual meeting on the 1st of August, which was at least 20 days. So that's what our bylaws require. We, at that same time, had closed the original ask for resumes and nominations for candidates who wanted to run for the board. We have 4 seats that are up for election today. 2 of those are our incumbents, Dan and Alex, who are running for re-election to their seats. And we have 2 open seats. But as of July 31st, when we closed the resume period and sent out the notice of annual meeting, we only had 3 volunteers. So that meant we would have had 1 board spot that wouldn't be electable, more or less, today. And as we talked as a board, we felt that we should extend the period for people to be able to submit resumes so that it'd be up to the community who takes that 4th spot. Because had we closed it on the 1st and sent ballots out on the 1st, closed on the 31st and sent ballots out on the 1st, that 4th spot would have had to have been filled by the board. And that felt to us to be a little bit less democratic than letting the community decide. So we extended the deadline for 1 week to August, I think it was August 6th. And then on Monday, August 7th, sent out the ballot. So I know some folks have said that they didn't receive that. I think we've heard that problem in the past, even when there has been a longer period of time when the ballots have been mailed out. Frankly, we just can't run an election based on the perceived incompetence of the U.S. Postal Service. And next year, I think you're going to see more changes to try to really address this growing issue of people not getting their mail, or maybe they get their mail in another location. Because last year, when it was last year, 2 years ago, our bylaws were amended to allow for electronic voting. We tried to pull that together for this election, but the logistics are just difficult. You have to hire a third-party vendor to take care of it. And so it's something we just need a little bit more lead time to make possible. But I suspect by next year's annual election or annual meeting director election, we'll have that in place. And so we'll not have as much of these problems where people haven't gotten ballots. So just wanted to address that. So if anybody hasn't turned in their ballots, please do so. The counting is already underway. And as I mentioned, so 2 of the 4 seats that are up today, two directors are running for re-election. 2 directors are not running for re-election. Hal Simon, who couldn't be with us here today, and Arthur Kaplan, who is here with us today.
But my 8 years written up.
Yeah. who has served for quite a long time and has done really, really great work for our community. So I really want to acknowledge Arthur, and though he's not here, Hal, particularly in this last year, Hal, just really, though he was very busy getting his business up and running, and he runs a small business in the area, so he's really dedicated a lot of time to the board, even though he didn't have a lot of extra time to give. And so we really thank him for that. This past year has been obviously, hang on, just admitting. Thank you. We've had our work cut out for us, and I want to acknowledge each and every member of the board and their contributions toward a lot of the work that we had to do in terms of getting control of the entertainment project, the capital projects, revising our assessment plan and getting that whole plan through. Not going to single any particular board member out, but everybody knows their contributions, and it is sincerely, sincerely appreciated. We worked on a number of other matters over the year. We had some employee issues that we had to work out as between the water company and POA. We had to get the entertainment open, and there were a number of other things. We tried to keep folks updated through our monthly meetings as well. So I just want to thank each of the board members for all their hard work throughout the year. We also wanted to provide everybody, our plan was that we were going to provide the update here at this meeting on where we are on the capital assessment in terms of collections and what we have due and owing. But again, because of the work of several of our hardworking board members, we were able to get that in writing. That was emailed out to everybody Wednesday, I think, or earlier this week. So I wanted to see if anybody has any questions specifically on that item, where we are on the capital piece of things. Okay. So with that, what else do we have? We're waiting on counting. So
Joe is on there.
hang on just a second, Leslie. Yes.
Could I ask a question on the election process?
Yes, sir.
Do our bylaws say that we have to have a minimum number of people on the board?
No, they don't.
All right, so my question to you would be, we didn't have enough people sign up. We got into some sort of a rush act at the end. Were these people who signed on it, and I don't know who they are, I don't know where they live, I don't know what they look like, I don't know anything about them, I did get some resumes. So I'm looking at these resumes and some of the people that have never run before. Now, I was at the last meeting where we had question and answers. Some of the people didn't show up. So all you have is a sketchy resume which said nothing at all about Emerald Green, how they got here, what they see as a future, what they would like to change or what they would like to keep. It's just like a list of jobs they had, which I see no relationship at all. And I know this is not personal. I see no relationship at all to any of that background and how it would affect being a board member. And we're talking about a community that has a lot of things going on. And we're talking about getting somebody by default, possibly. It's really like that, where they never had experience, where they ever on any other boards. How they even get to Emerald Green? And we're going to put people like this on the board. I don't even know if they'll fit in with the guys who I think did a great job last year. So I think that before you rushed into that, you would have been better off saying, you know something, let's keep it down to 1 or 2 members who didn't even show up for the interviews, didn't even show up to be discussing anything here. So how serious could they be? Is there an agenda? I really don't know. I'm just an old timer that looks at this thing in a real simplistic way. And I think it gets more and more complicated by people saying, well, let's just do that. It's very easy to get into something, very difficult to get out of it. And you guys may be taking people on that don't fit in with anything you're trying to do, have different agendas, and I just think it was a wrong move. End of speech.
Okay, thanks. Leslie, you had your hand up, and then Robert.
Yeah, My first question was, usually in the past, you ask members of the community that come to the annual meeting if anyone wanted to volunteer to do the counting. And it was also said the names of the people that were doing the counting in the back. Would you be able to give us those names?
Sure, Michael, who's back there?
Marvin, Chris Douglas, Marvin Newberg, Chris Douglas, and Alan Chance.
And who else?
Alan Chance.
Oh, okay.
Robert?
Yeah, as a follow-up to the gentleman's comments. It surprises me that at a time when this community has so many issues and has so many new people in it, that there are so few people who actually volunteered to be on the board, and that should be an embarrassment to our community, but also a message to our community. That maybe there's a better way to find people in this community who could serve in a very positive way. And if you don't ask them, if you don't find them, they're not going to all come forward. And therefore, I think that the community ought to have a debate at least about whether there should be a nominating committee. Now, I know a lot of people are opposed to a nominating committee because a nominating committee puts forward a slate. But the nominating committee, if there is one, works for an entire year trying to find people within the community who could serve positively on the board. And I don't know how the entire community feels about that. I did raise it at the bylaws committee meeting, and it was met with a resounding put down. But I would urge people to think about that and to in some way have a community meeting to discuss that particular issue, because I think it is a very important issue about finding people to serve on this board.
Yes.
First, Leslie wasn't done asking her questions, and then I wanted to ask a question.
Okay, all right. To follow up what the gentleman said, my name is Leslie Ashley Hartman. I've been living here since 2013, but I'm married at Northern County Board that has been in business here in Woodridge, as a matter of fact, with environmental since 1975. So he's been here since early 70s. So I'm very, I'm kind of riding on his coattails. But I had another property in Pennsylvania. I was in the bylaws committee. I was in the a couple of other committees there. Trying to remember the name of them. But so I have a little bit of experience from over there. Then when I moved here, I was asked to run by David. What was his last name? Page. Yes. So I ran back then, and I was on the board for a couple of terms. I have my background is in business. I'm a paralegal. I have worked for attorneys a lot of my life, but I am here. I like the simplistic life here. Change is hard. Believe me, change is hard, but we still like to be rooted in some type of something grounding that the community was built on. Something that the community offered back then. If it was so good back then, I think nothing good now. So, I'm willing to give my time, my effort, be a voice to my community. And in my resume, I said I am not gonna be. My loyalty is to the community, because as a homeowner, I put myself first, not to another board member, not to the property management. My voice and my loyalty is to my community, because I would like to keep it the way when I move there. And that's all I can say about that. I'll be honored if you vote for me, and I'll serve you to the best of my abilities. That's all.
Great.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Callie Tadaldi. I want to follow up on what this gentleman said as well. I agree that I don't think the resumes are sufficient to find out how eligible a candidate is. I think maybe questions in the future about the community and answers could be mailed out, like if we could collaboratively come up with questions that would make sense for a voter to want to vote for somebody. Because the resumes, when I look at them, they have nothing to do with running a business, which is kind of what this is when it comes to managing money. Second, I'm one of the homeowners that did not receive a ballot.
Kelly, I'm sorry, just hang on one second, because it appears that the folks on Zoom are unable to hear us.
Okay, do you want me to give it?
Yes, come close.
Yeah, maybe that's, sorry, we're
Speak into the owl.
speaking to,
That's very good.
thanks, Rich.
So I'm one of the homeowners that did not receive a ballot for the election today. I found out about it at the Dollar General yesterday from a woman that I do yoga with. So that's why I'm here and I got my ballot, but I'm concerned about everybody else that may have not gotten their ballot. I wouldn't blame it on incompetence of the USPS if the ballots were sent out less than 2 weeks before the election. I would blame that on, like, nobody sending out an RSVP to something 2 weeks before the event. I think that if we truly want the community to have a fair vote in the matter, that this needs to be pushed back and make sure that 3 to 4 weeks is given for people to look over the resumes. I looked over the resumes 5 minutes before this meeting and voted. Do I feel great about that decision? No. Did I get a chance to vote? Yes, but it was strictly because of the woman I ran into yesterday and not because of the board. That's it.
But can I just say to that point, I mean, folks are getting their emails, right? People got notice of the annual meeting. They got the QR code with the resumes. We had last Sunday, which I think maybe 8 people attended, which I know you're there. A meet the candidate forum. There were plenty of opportunities for people to have, first of all, to know about the meeting, to know that the election is here, to know who's running, and to have a chance to ask those candidates questions. I don't want to dispute it with you, but I'm saying there were plenty of opportunities, and I to say that people are only finding out this morning, then they haven't been paying attention or haven't been reading their emails or waited to the last second to do so.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I did get the email and I didn't read through it because I get emails about a lot of events going on in here. If I tell you how many times I was informed about the Emerald Green Olympics, I was well informed. I was not as informed about this election as I was about the Emerald Green Olympics or all of the other fun stuff going on in the community. So when I do see those emails, I always expect a ballot. Last year, I got a packet full of resumes. I was able to read through them and submit the ballot. So I'm waiting for that in the mail. I don't think that I should have to go to the office. I get every single statement for a bill sent to my address. I have a PO box. I don't know why I didn't get my mail if I have a PO box in Rock Hill. Like, maybe if it got put into the wrong box in Emerald Green, that would make sense, but I get every single other piece of mail on time. And I just think, depending on how many people end up voting today, if it ends up being a handful of people in comparison to the homeowners in this association, that you guys should take a good look at that and be like, maybe half the people in our community didn't get ballots. Because we always have a very low turnout for voting anyway. And I, like, every time we have voting turnout, I'm like, how many people got their ballots for previous votes? So I just think it's very questionable. I know in the last vote, my old coworker never got a ballot and she was caught up on all her payments. And again, people live busy lives. I understand that, and they're not always gonna come and tell you like, oh, I didn't get a ballot, I didn't vote. It's only gonna be the vocal people in the community, but I still think that everybody should get a chance to vote.
Lee, hang on one second. I saw some folks raise their hand on Zoom and I want to give them an opportunity, and then Lee will come back to you. Gideon, your hand is up, then Joel, then Marcy. Gideon, if you can unmute.
Hi, I'm
One
sorry,
more.
it's Nita, it's
That's
Nita,
okay.
it's Nita, not Gideon. I just have to say something. Look at how many people are attending this thing, 26. How many people are in the room? people who are complaining about a lack of people voting, people pay attention. You have sent out so many things. You know, I have so many friends who have no idea what's going on because they don't pay attention. If you care, you read your mail, you pay attention. I didn't get a package because I live part-time in Florida, but I paid attention. I went to the office, I picked up my package because I wanted my vote to count. People really just sometimes don't care. It's not because you didn't send out things. It's not because you didn't send an email. I think people have to really pay attention to what counts. And if it counts living here, pay attention to your emails. I get tons of emails, but this counts. That's all. I just, you know what, I hear all this blame. I think you do what you had to do. People just don't pay attention.
Gotcha, thanks. Joel, then Marcy.
Yeah, good morning. I live in Bergen County and they were able to mail me my ballot. I got it and I mailed it back. So, you know, I think like basically what she just said, you know, you got to be involved and you got to pay attention, and we give a lot of stuff out, you know, and you just got to be involved. And as far as getting more people to run, I mean, the people have to want to be involved. Everybody knew that we were running on elections. So you got to jump, you got to step up, people. If you don't, it's not going to work. So thank you.
Joel, Marcy.
Hi. So I know it's too late for this election, but just a thought, and I would be willing to take this on if if nobody else is going to grab it. One of the gentlemen raised a point about, you know, people submit their job resumes and it doesn't really have a lot of relevance. I think it would be great to have a questionnaire for potential candidates of, you know, how long have you lived in Emerald Green? What do you think are the 3 most important issues that we're facing? You know, what is your vision? Things that I think people could relate to that would be relevant to the community and to their potential position on the board. So if I am needed, I will create one for next election. If not, maybe somebody can take it and run with it. But I think that would be real helpful for everyone. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks a lot. Lee?
Well, it's basically what the other people just said. Last year, I didn't get my ballot, so I came into the office because I was aware there was an election. This young lady was aware there was an election because she got the email. If you don't get it, you have to speak up and get it if you want to have your own count.
Thanks. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm Lynn Braver. I didn't receive my ballot either, but 3 weeks ago, I came into the office to make sure that I did get a ballot because I knew the election was coming up. It's the same thing with anything that goes on. You have certain dates on your calendar. You have to know when you have to, if you want to be present and involved. And with saying that there's not a lot of people that want to run for the board, there's a lot of disinterest. A lot of people don't have the time. So we have to thank the people that are here that are volunteering, because volunteering is, you know, a position that is thankless, and they work very hard doing this for us. So I thank you guys.
Yeah, Arthur, please.
I've been here a long time, I think, too. It goes up and down with the number of people running for the board. We had years, we didn't have enough to fill the board, and that was not good. Then we had the last couple of years, we came up with a lot of new people, and they were wonderful. We were lucky that we were all, their skills were here, and we were able to put together and finish the construction of all the amenities. That was a good year. But we had 250 new people move in the last 3 years. They don't even know what's going on. To volunteer before they even see anything, that's very hard. They're putting their house together. We're just lucky on the good years and take it from there. But I thank all the people and in the past who've served on the board and are interested and still come to meetings. They're as old as I am.
Thanks, Arthur. Anybody else in the audience?
I just have one comment.
Yes, Kelly.
I appreciate everybody on the board and what they do. I just don't believe less than 2 weeks to mail out the ballots was sufficient and acceptable. That's pretty much my concern. We all know the USPS is not reliable in a 2-week span. If you guys don't know that, maybe you don't mail things often. But I just believe in the future, we should never mail something out less than 2 weeks in advance. And I hope to get my ballot within the next week to prove that it wasn't out. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody else on Zoom? All right, well, we can take a recess, I guess, while we wait for the results to come in. Unless anybody has any other questions that you want to ask? Oh, wow. Let's go. That's yes, sir. You haven't had a chance.
Right,
Please introduce yourself.
I don't think anyone up in, you guys, nobody's concerned about the wildlife in this area. Now, there's 2 plots, I'll make sure it writes out, I mentioned to you at the fishing contest. That's where all the spring peepers and salamanders and turtles reproduce. And now I see that they're surveying it 2 lots, Lake Shore Drive south and east. That corner by the fire pump.
Yeah,
Right behind it. That's where all the spring, there's 1,000. I mean, I could get in touch with the DEC. I mean, I know some forest rangers because I fly fish the rivers, so I get to meet them. But I don't want to start any trouble. But I think the community should be aware of, besides the lakes, there's vernal ponds here also where all the frogs reproduce, a lot of frogs and salamanders, turtles. And that's part of the whole ecology here.
Yeah. That's a great point.
People are here to go swimming, that's it. And play tennis. And walk their dogs. But they're not concerned about it. So I don't know. That should have been a wetland. I mean, I've been here over 20 years. I don't know how you can build houses.
No, I appreciate you raising the issue. Let us take that up with our management and look into it. I think that's an awesome idea. I think it's a great idea to look into that.
the permitting process.
Yeah.
But we still don't know
What's
who
going
you
on?
are, so if you want to tell us.
Well,
I got his number.
treasurer of the fishing club. I want everybody to say a name. Julius Rubin. Here we go.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I just wanted to bring that up.
Okay,
I mean, this is the country, that's why we're here.
thank you.
You see.
Appreciate
I
it.
mean, I have a home. She said.
Yeah.
All right, we're done now.
Okay, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I'm here over 20 years. I'm here just for the summer. And I have to say, this is the first year that I have to tell you that my family, my friends, people that visit, cannot believe how great Emerald Green is. And I want to thank you guys for taking this project and making this like a miracle, because nobody would ever foresee something like this. The other thing is, I was on the, Paula asked me to help her on the welcoming committee. And 2 weeks ago, we contacted everybody who did not receive baskets. And we went around the community and we gave the welcome baskets. We got such positive feedback. And people really love this neighborhood. They can't believe, they were so appreciative. They loved every amenity here. Then the other thing I wanted to say was, I'm on a lot of committees in Florida. And on the board, we have something called the Good Neighbor. And especially here and in Florida more so, we have an aging community with people that unfortunately are not well, that we should be a good neighbor. If we can have a committee, like if somebody needs something, or if you don't see your neighbor who you usually see every day, you don't see them taking out the garbage and you know they're not on vacation, that we should really try to see who our neighbors are and to keep in touch and to make sure if there's somebody that needs something, that we extend, a little interest to our next door neighbors or neighbors in the community.
That's a good idea.
Great point.
Yeah.
Lee?
Well, this is a minor thing, but when we had the, meet the candidates last week, I guess it was.
Last Sunday.
It was at the same, it was scheduled at the same time as water aerobics, which is an HOA event
Yeah.
as well. And I think in scheduling, we should be a little aware of that kind of thing. The meet the candidate could just as easily have been at noon, so that there wouldn't be that kind of conflict. Now, I scheduled a pickleball tournament for today. When I came into the office and told them what time I wanted, someone should have told me, you can't do it. There's a book club. That's an HOA book club. So I think we have to look at scheduling on the calendar.
Okay.
Yes.
Noted. Thank you.
Well, the meet the candidates was scheduled like 3 days before. And then it was, the Bagel Festival was happening at the same time in Monticello as well.
Well,
There was a lot of things happening in
can't-
Sullivan County.
We can't worry about things in Sullivan County, but at least within the community, you don't want two HOA sponsored events at the same time. I mean, there are lots of things going on in the community. We never have a day to do anything if we do that.
Yes, sir.
Brian Frank, what's doing with the outstanding collections? And Silas Nana, how does that affect our sewer system? Or they're gonna be building by Wolf Lake here, and they're gonna be using our sewer system. Wondering how that's going to affect us.
So on the second question, our sewer system is not Emerald Green sewer system, it's the, Rock Hill Sewer District, so that's up the town of Thompson. So
Affect us?
that's between the developer and the town. They'll be having a public hearing on that later this week. And on the collections, you mean outstanding member dues? We've been doing a good job, I think, on the ARs. Where are we? Do we have specific numbers through
I don't-
July?
Yeah, I don't have the number in front of me, but
As of this week, I think talking with Michael on Monday or Tuesday, we have, you asked me the collections for the assessment?
Yeah, no, what's outstanding, there's a lot of work to, there's a lot of money that's probably outstanding with dues and assessments that haven't been paid. I'm just wondering if it's not handled on that.
When we took over this time last year, there was a huge AR on the books. Most of that, it turns out, was fines and violations related to one or two properties, which we've worked our way through. I think the membership, the annual dues AR is pretty low considering, I just don't know the exact number. And Chris was just about to tell you about where we are on collection for the revised capital assessment piece, which I think has been trending quite well as well.
Yep, I don't have AR for you, but I mean, we collected, in general, our collections for the assessment have exceeded our projections. So communities chipping in and neighbors are doing what we need them to do. We collected
You don't have any figures then?
$837,000 total for both the November assessment and the June assessment. And I think keep in mind that many of our neighbors are on the payment plans, so that figure will continue to rise.
So I'm just trying to pull up, and I'll do this while we're talking the July financials, which the board has approved and should be posted shortly.
as of last year, our accounting figures were in the ballpark of 8% of our homeowners were either delinquent or not paying their dues. That figure is considerably lower now than what it was at this point last year.
But if you bear with me, I'll get the exact number for you as it stands at the end of July. Online, I saw Marcy, have your hand up.
Yeah, so just gonna put this out there. I think I've thrown the thought out again, but there are a lot of security concerns going on here. I know we have limited budget with our security staff, but I would propose a neighborhood watch or something like that, where people volunteer, there's something to identify them, a t-shirt or a badge or something. And a schedule can be worked out. And if the community is notified by email and every other way possible, that for everybody's well-being and safety, these members will be asking to see their badge and to please keep it on them at all times. And if they don't have it, they will be graciously asked to please go get it, or, to exit the property with some recourse of calling an actual security person or the office or someone. I constantly see people on the pickleball courts, the tennis courts. I speak to them. Some come from Liberty and they're here every week. I see people in the gym, there are people on the beach, there are people on the dock, and it's a huge liability for us. I've spoken to two people in insurance companies, fairly high positions, who say we're at major risk. And I think for so many reasons, we need to be more vigilant about that. And if there's a committee, I'd volunteer to be on it, but I think it should be considered. Thanks.
Right, Marcia, I know you've raised that in the past, and I've got to just say again, what your insurance friends told you doesn't necessarily have any impact on our association or liabilities for us. But the issues with security and how that's all managed is something that our property manager handles. It's not day-to-day a board level issue, but we'll continue to review that with management. And I will like that.
Don't want to, a lot of time, the pickleball court and the tennis courts are used quite frequently. There's a group that meets in the afternoon that they're members and their guests, and there's also a group that meets on Tuesdays and Thursdays that play tennis. That it's a couple of members and their guests. Their members are local people from the county. So that's where I don't believe anybody's coming in here from Liberty. Usually our security is pretty much on top of that, but I will address that again with them. And let you guys know.
That is not the case.
Yeah.
Lou Sherman, 22 years here. Somebody put something very good on email or whatever it's called, about putting up signs about people with their kids and strollers walking on the wrong side of the road. I know the roads are town roads, but is there any way we can get to town, or I'll pay for them, or maybe one or two of them. To put up, signs to the public, how they should be walking on these roads.
I don't think we could do that. I don't think the town's gonna address something like that.
We can do that, if we put the signs on our property.
We can in the community put signs throughout that. We can get the okay from them to do. It's not, they're not gonna put signs up like that.
I think it's a good idea, just somebody can hear it, thank you.
Yes, sir, in the back. And if you could just stand up, so I think that Howell needs to pick you up.
Howell, and just to follow up with the comment, I have called the highway department a couple of times to get them out regarding safety issues and signage. We've left this community with a wide range of people, older people, and an influx of younger people with small children and baby carriages, and just wonderful. I've spoken to the highway department a number of times. I've asked them to put up a sign, just slow children crossing, children walking, or whatever, there are signs that we put up, and it is their responsibility. I'm not sure. I heard what Michael said. I'm not sure if we have the right on town right the way to put up our own sign. If we are, that would be great. But I think it would be very, very good for our community. I see many comments online about picking up your dogs. I don't see enough signs. Okay, I know there are food bags around. I think signage for that, signage about how to walk on the street, signage for safety. Like someone, I think, someone just commented on the fact that they may be outsiders. And I think you were correct that, if we have proper signage of saying that this is private property and you will enter at your own risk, I think if there's more signage like that on our property, I think that would be helpful as well. the safety of our community, safety of our residents, the safety of our older people and younger people, I think that's to be a primary important. And I want to thank the board again, as some other people did, for really a wonderful job that you've done over the last year.
Thanks, appreciate that. I'm gonna start a sign company, by the way, because we're gonna have something going up. And I'm making a little bit of a joke, but I'm not joking about the safety aspect of it. We talked about this at our last monthly meeting as well. Some folks had concerns about off-road vehicles in the golf course area, on the trails, and signs that we need to address there too. So there's a lot.
Patrick,
Yeah, Leslie, and then over here.
can you expand on this gentleman's first question? I think it was the first question regarding that sewer with the proposed new community. You will look into it next week?
No, there's a public hearing next week. It has nothing to do with EGPOA. We can't expand on it. I don't know anything about it. Yes, ma'am.
Because I wanted to thank the board also. I think this has been a wonderful year and wonderful job. Regarding the town roads, if it's a town road, why are they not made to put a white line to indicate two-way traffic? That may alleviate a little bit of it because people are driving in the middle too fast. And when you come around the curve and people are walking, it's very dangerous. And the other thing I wanted to mention, I appreciate this board trying to live within our means, which is unheard of these days. And, I think that's going to be very healthy for Emerald Green going forward. I've been here about 37 years now, and this has been outstanding, the job that was done in these last couple of years. But I did want to mention, you're all trying very hard to work within the budget. And I kind of feel that if we're in a tight situation, capital improvements and maintenance of that, security, et cetera, is the most important thing. Maybe we need to have lists of people that want to do certain other activities that need funding and buy tickets to those things so that the people that use them pay for it. And it'll help to keep our costs down so that some of the people that are experiencing hardships won't be.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I know.
I mean, I don't
it's
know,
kind of
you probably voted on it already, and maybe it was.
No, so there's been a lot of discussion about how to increase that entertainment budget while managing the other costs, right? So everything, the association isn't what it was 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago, and in terms of just our insurance costs and our other maintenance costs, they're huge. And so unless, everyone's willing to basically pay double in their homeowner dues, we're not able to have that big entertainment budget anymore. But the idea about, maybe people buy tickets and it funds itself that way, that's something that I've heard a couple of other people throw around as well. And I would, take that down to the events committee and see whether that's workable or not. But I think it's a great idea.
We're gonna have to pay Valerie more because she'll be the one that has to.
So
we were free tickets.
I think I can speak to that. I can speak to that. I mean, I do think it's important to understand that, first of all, we have been trying hard. The activities budget is $40,000 this year, about a fifth of which goes to the fireworks that we enjoyed on July 1st. Those events are, we don't have an activities director on the staff. I think Brittany is incredibly gracious with her time, and Valerie too, in supporting us with communications and organizational work. And I think Alana and I, as chairs of that events committee, are incredibly grateful to our staff for their support. We've really tried hard to live within that events budget this year. That, by the way, that also includes all of the aerobics and yoga classes that you've seen. That's part of that same budget. We've certainly heard the idea to have kind of paid events before. The decision, I'm happy to own this decision for this year. My perspective on this was that in a year when we were asking homeowners a lot, that we shouldn't be asking them to pay in for other events. That's not necessarily a forever decision, but that was a not now decision. That this year there shouldn't be a surcharge to enjoy events. We've tried to structure events in a way that makes events. We've tried to create a range of events that are as accessible to as many people in the community as possible, and to spend the money on events where they can benefit a large number of people, as opposed to sort of high per capita costs, which would be where the kind of event where you would start thinking about asking for a surcharge. So, I mean, I recognize there are different opinions on that, and I just wanted to explain kind of where we would be from on that, this particular.
And at a really high level, I think you correctly perceive what sort of our financial ethos is, which is that we know there are going to be a couple of lean and mean years. That's the situation we inherited. That's what we have to get ourselves through. So as long as we're steering the ship correctly through that, we feel pretty good about it. I would think that, 3, 4 years, 5 years down the line, we'll be in a better position to do more things like that again. Yes, ma'am. And then Michael.
I think that was Rich announced.
Yeah.
I'm Margaret Drive, and Rich Brown and I are organizing a program to monitor the lakes. It's called the Citizen Statewide Lake Assessment Program, run by DEC. There's a training next May, and then you'll be involved in every 2 weeks doing like half a day of sampling of water. If you're interested, we need 8 people. We need 4 for each lake, Treasure Lake, Lake Louise Marie. So please come and see me or Rich Brown, or come to the Lakes Committee meeting next Thursday. Do you all know me? If you don't know me, you know. And Michael.
Great, thank you.
8 people, it's gonna be great, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Awesome. Hope to see some volunteers. Michael.
Mike Gutnick, I've been here for over 30 years and I wanted to comment. I was originally going to be quiet, but when someone mentioned the sewer, like a red flag to a pole. Let me tell you that I would not worry about the 28 municipalities. In fact, enough capacity for that is not a problem. I would worry that if half a mile to a mile away from us is going to be a 560,000 square foot warehouse distribution industrial facility, unless we get our act together for one. That facility asks for an extension of our sewer district to that location. Also, it may also support high density housing in back of it because the owner of the property, the warehouse, also owns 500,000 square feet of extra space. Not sorry, 500 acres of extra space behind the warehouse. So what's going to happen? The extension of the sewer district, they're going to pay for the plumbing to get to our facility. But over time, if they pump out hazardous waste or whatever through our sewer system, we're going to have to pay for it. The town, by the way, controls how the rates are paid. They can decide to burden the community, the residential community, with a higher proportionate share of the cost. And the question is whether our facility, which is originally built for residential and light offices, can handle industrial activity. So the reality is we're trying to bring this up for issues. Other people have been bringing this up for issues. This community does not officially have a position on this issue. They have not taken the issue of bringing this to the planning board of Emerald Green. And if you want to read more about this and are really concerned, which I am concerned, rockhilllca.org, rhlca.org. Take a look at the information there. It's a Lake Community Association. We're charged with protecting the greater Rock Hill community. And the sewer issue is the primary issue that affects us because at the end of the day, we may not have enough sewer capacity to meet our needs, and we're going to pay much higher sewer bills. Forgetting the environmental issues that warehouse can afford, and the traffic issues on Route 17, this one, of course. And by the way, that isn't the only warehouse in our community going to be built. If you look a mile and a half that direction, there's over 1 million square foot of warehouse on the plan. So all the town board cares about is getting more real estate revenues by taxes. They don't care about the community. They don't care about the pollution they're going to cause. They don't care about the increase in the cost that we're going to incur. That's my point. Thank you.
Alex?
I have a question, inquiry, suggestion about how we go about paying the annual and assessments upfront versus payments. And I wanted to know why we don't charge a higher interest rate when an individual decides to pay in payments as opposed to upfront.
We do charge a service charge.
But it's like a couple dollars.
It's $100. It's $100.
When I did the payment plan in January, I paid quarterly instead of all upfront because it was gonna cost me a couple extra dollars. And I made more money keeping my money in a savings account.
All right. Are you speaking to the dues or the acceptance?
The dues.
Okay. It's the service charge and the dues. Yes, service charge and the dues is minimal, so we could.
Yeah, is there a reason for that? Because anytime you break something up into a payment plan, you should be making more money.
That's the question.
On the payment plan, the minimal service charge, Callie suggested that it should be more. We did that on the assessment, but the payment plans, that's just how the previous boards have set it up.
That's good.
It's the only time I've ever seen something, having the option of paying upfront, there being no $1 incentive. So I think that we should definitely look into that, and I think it would be beneficial for the community if we could get more money upfront, correct? Because then we're gonna pay lower interest rates on the money that we owe if we have more in the beginning of the year.
Yeah, and there's more work to the billing too. I mean, the longer you stagger it out, there's more bookkeeping work that goes with it too, so. You're just looking to, you know, compensate for that extra work. Makes sense, it's a board thing, the board establishes those.
Kelly, it's also, you know, just to clarify, I think our interest is, you know, we want to put homeowners in a position where they're able to pay and to meet their obligations, right? We're not, I think, I take your point that.
Why would everybody pay up front though, if they're gonna make money keeping their money in a savings account, like it just. I could have paid up front, but I opted to do a payment plan because I'm gonna make more money paying it off quarterly.
Yeah, no, I understand your point.
Yeah.
I think, you know, we, just for the record, we had complaints. Just on the other side of this issue, we had complaints about the service charge on the assessment as well. So there's
too much.
There's a diversity of opinion on that issue. So that's not saying you're wrong or right.
A couple of weeks ago, we had a cabaret event, and we had a lot of events that we did do. And Lola was one of the chair people, and she can vouch for this. They had over Valerie, what was it, 200 RSVPs? And then 85 people showed up. And the last minute, he went out to Sam's Club and had to go get all this food because they were planning to have 200 people. And there was like only 85 people that showed up. So what we usually do in Florida, if you RSVP and you don't show up, you get charged. And this way, people that are on the fence, if they're going or not, will definitely make sure that they're gonna go unless they don't care that they're gonna be charged. But you wouldn't have 100 and something people not show up, which was really, you know, we were planning for 200. The other thing is with security, we have security at the pool and we have security here. If there is a problem that we see as a homeowner, is there any way that we could contact security, a phone number to say, hey, I see a suspicious car riding around. I see kids.
On our property common ground or out on the street?
Any in the community?
794-7100, call the sheriff's department. We're not, our security is not here for that.
Okay.
Our security is just to make sure they're members of the community. And that part between the pool and the entertainment. As far as somebody being on the street, seeing call 911, call the sheriff's department, state police. Those are the people you should be telling that to, not our security.
So if, let's say the security guard is here and there is some activity going on at the pool, but there is not a security guard at the pool. Can we contact the security that is here to see?
Not direct.
So how do we?
796-2410. Gives you emergencies. If it's a water emergency, follow this number, push this number. I don't know what they are off the top of my.
That's not really,
No, you're gonna push the other number that's a non-emergency and that's coming right to me.
okay, so our security, if they're not present there, we have to call them.
They would never be here. They'd be running all over the community all the time. So I put, you know, and you've been here a long time. We used to have security that roamed the community, that stayed in the common area and rode the roads. We had checkpoints, they had to go through the community, we had a watchman. You're shaking your head, Arthur, you remember all that, which was a pain, but they rode through the community, but it's just gotten too expensive to have that happen, and it's too expensive. And if we want to pay, we can get it, but that's something the board would have to.
No, we have an alternate way of getting someone to work, to observe what's happening, that's fine, so you just call.
Just call the office number and follow the procedures. After hours.
All the phone systems are working everywhere, because when I first came back from Florida, we were in areas where you couldn't get any contact at all. And before you even answer the question, I was very remiss before. I want to thank you and your staff, Valerie's here. I don't know if the others are, but Brittany and Chet and everybody. I'm so pleased with how everybody has.
Thank you, thank you. I don't know if your cell phone works here.
Well, I mean, I was with people and they all had different systems.
It depends what system, sometimes and where you are in the community. Sometimes AT&T works better than the Verizon. We do have a tower. We do have it.
Somebody had a heart attack and you can't get anybody to respond. I mean, they took a tower down and then they put a tower back.
No, there is a tower in Crystal Run. There was a tower that was put. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Crystal.
In the back.
So it should be working properly now. Right?
Correct.
Just a quick question, the new homes going up on, North Emerald Drive. They're not part of our community, and I saw them put the water lines in. I assume they're gonna get, a water meter as well, right?
Yes.
No, I'm just curious.
Yeah, and
Because
then our,
listen,
listen,
he's building a lot more, and he's not part of the community.
well, he says he's building a lot more, but.
Correct. Correct.
That has,
Those 3 houses will have meters.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody who has water from us has water, including us, including Emerald Green. We have a water meter in there. We're billed every month.
And make.
Absolutely,
Okay,
absolutely.
thank you.
Okay, I have the results in my hand, but I want to make sure everybody has a chance to ask their questions. Okay. A quorum being present, here are the results. The amendment of the bylaws passed 103 1/4 in favor, 32 3/4 against. That is more than 2/3, therefore the measure is adopted. And we now have a standing bylaws committee, and acknowledgement to Mr. Dobers for bringing the idea forward and really putting it out there. For our directors, Dan Brumbaugh received 121 1/4 votes and is elected to a 3-year term. Alex Ray received 119 votes, elected to a 3-year term. Beverly Fernandez, 98 1/4 votes, elected to a 3-year term. Congratulations. And Leslie Askew Halperin, at 71 3/4, elected to a 3-year term. Congratulations, Leslie. Congratulations to new board members, returning board members. That's it. So with that, I'm gonna adjourn.
Let me just say, they had a question about, I think Dan got his figures. He was for the.
Oh,
what is owed.
Okay, to answer, Brian, to answer your question about the ARs.
Brian,
I'm sorry.
We had the answer for you on the ARs.
Guys, say.
As far as the homeowner dues, they are 187,000 outstanding, which ends up around 70-ish homes that are still not up to date on their dues.
However, with that, that could be years of dues, not, that could be, it's 70 homes, but it could be only 20 homes that aren't paying.
Are you putting in liens on these homes?
We foreclose, yes, we do.
There's, a process.
We actively collect it. From in the past, the figure has come down a lot from in the past. One thing that helps us immensely is security. Because a lot of people use the facilities that day, whatever day the dues are, if you haven't paid your dues, you haven't paid your assessment, you can't get in. So it's much better than it has been in the past.
It just seems like 187,000 is outstanding right now.
Yes.
That's on dues, what about the assessment?
But when we say that dues, that could be that could be 10 homes, 20 homes that haven't paid in years and we've leaned and yeah, it's not our normal.
Think about it like this, there's still $3,600 worth of assessments from 2019 that are outstanding, so.
So, but least more pointed questions about the capital assessment.
Yes.
What, do we know, have the AR numbers for that? We'll look and get that for you, Mitch.
Yeah, I think in this question of dues, I think the real question that a lot of people in the community ask, not the actual total dollars, because that's really misleading. If you say it could be somebody for 20 years they haven't paid, so it's showing as a big number. I think most people hear rumors and they'll say, let's say we have 700 homes. They'll say, according to these numbers, it looks like 200 of them aren't paying. That's very misleading. So I think what the public really would like to hear is out of the total number of homes, this is the amount that really haven't paid. And I think it's probably minuscule from what you're saying.
Yeah.
But that would really give you a better picture of what.
So
that's a figure we could do.
Yeah, so
and like I said before, the original tabulation process that we did before was 8%. We'll know more in the coming months of what the final figure is going to be, but it's trending a lot lower than 8%.
Yeah, but that's easy to see. It's just people are not paid up, and this is the number, and everybody says, "Oh, okay, that's not so bad." Forget about 20 years ago. Right now, it's like 12 people haven't paid. So I think it'll just
yeah.
be more of an
So
answer.
for our next regular meeting, which will be at some point in September, we'll make it a point to get that readout so that we have a little bit more
That would just
detail.
have a lot of gossip and a lot
Yeah,
of rumors.
right. Great idea. All right, so we're gonna adjourn our annual meeting. I'm gonna ask the newly elected and re-elected board members and sitting board members to remain. We need to do our reorganizational meeting. We need to. That's still public. But you folks can remain for that if you want. It's still a public meeting, and we'll keep the recording open.
Yeah.
No, it's a bathroom on the other side of the. Alex, it's okay, it's okay. I'll send it to your house. Me and your phone. They are a question of actually.
All right. We need Tom to rejoin us.
More people stepped up. Being the range over the short as it was.
Okay, we're reconvening. The 2023 to 2024 board is here. I'll ask the secretary to take a, well, actually, don't. That's not how it works, right? Earl is dialing back in, so sorry. I was gonna say, I'll ask the secretary, but Chris is not technically the secretary.
I think we can have Michael chair until we nominate a president. And
That's right. Alex will not be able to rejoin us, but we do have Earl popping back in hopefully any second.
Just appoint someone as a temporary chairman.
Yeah, Michael.
Okay, that's me. Is Joel in Alaska?
No. Joel, you're on mute.
Okay, reorganizational meeting.
Let's get a nominate.
Okay,
I'd like to nominate Patrick for a second term as president.
I second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, there you go. Now it's you.
All right.
Thank you. The opportunity to serve.
Good job, Mike.
Your check will be in the mail. We should take nominations, I think, next for treasurer, and I would nominate Dan.
I will say.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any recusals or abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes. For secretary, I'd like to nominate Chris. Second.
Chris
All-
can't abstain.
I apologize. I apologize.
Hey, Earl,
I'm
he might
sorry.
refuse the nomination, but that's up to him. All in favor?
No comment. No comment.
Aye.
Damn it.
Any
Aye.
opposed, any recusals or abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes. All right. For vice president, do we have any nominations? By the way, on our bylaws, we can have more than one vice president. So if, folks would like, and I do have an idea of it, nominating Ilana to be among the vice presidents.
I nominate Earl.
Okay, I second Earl. Can I get a second for Ilana? Great.
Oh, we got two going on at the same time.
Yeah. So all in favor of that, having two vice presidents, Earl and Ilana? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Recusals, abstentions? Hearing none. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none. What else do we have to do for our board?
Check signers.
Slow down. Just, you have two vice presidents.
Yep.
Aren't they
I'm
both?
just looking at the bylaws. If there's more than one, the board of directors shall determine who would perform the duties and powers of the president if you can't do it, if you're not available. So you should do that.
Can we ask the two for their preference to who might wish to do that? I know, I would say I would lean toward Alana on that, Earl, just because I know you have a crazy travel schedule and work schedule.
Yeah, yeah.
Needs to be present, preside.
Okay.
Okay, everyone okay with that? So we'll nominate
Yep.
Alana for vision.
Just vote on it.
Okay,
Okay.
all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Recusals, abstentions? Hearing none, motion passes. Yes.
Who seconded Earl? You moved very quickly.
Tom. Oh, no, Tom.
I'm
Tom nominated.
Oh.
Earl said,
I did.
Patrick seconded.
You nominated.
I nominate Earl and Patrick did a second.
Yep. And I nominated Alana.
Zach
Zach seconded.
Thank you. That's all.
Sure. Sorry, I did
For
go
the
quickly. Sorry, guys, I didn't mean to go that quickly. I was just trying. So what else? Oh, check signers.
Well, official bank is Wayne Bank. We need to keep that and check signers for Wayne Bank.
Okay, so, can I get a motion to retain Wayne Bank as the official bank for EGPOA?
I'll motion it.
Great,
I second.
seconded. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Recusals or abstentions, hearing none, the motion passes. All right, check signers. Who's current? I am, Dan is.
Chris,
I am.
I think we only lost Hal.
That was the
Do
only.
you feel like you need another local sign? No, you're good. Okay.
I'll move to keep existing check signers and add one.
The only one that we would need to add at that point, because she's an officer, would be.
That's my motion.
Oh, God.
Hey, Dan, who did you say?
You guys know,
Wait,
you gotta go through all of that stuff we just went through last month to finish up. It started a year ago, so everybody.
even if we're existing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's,
But
but
we
we still,
maintain the account.
right, we still say, I might be able to get them not have to have you guys go up.
Yeah.
I get paperwork from you before you go
Okay.
today, and I'll get right started on it, but
Okay.
you may have to go do it all over again.
Need a second for the motion.
Second.
Earl, had something.
On the check signer question, existing plus Alana is the motion. Chris made, I seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Oh, aye. Thank you. I didn't
The
hear. I'm sorry.
existing is Patrick, Dan, Ilana, and Earl.
No, existing is Patrick, Chris, Dan, Earl, Alex Ray.
Okay.
On adding Alana, so we have now we'll have 6. Okay. So that motion passes. What other items?
Attorney.
Mr. Newberg, would you like to remain?
Yeah.
All right, okay.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to retain Marvin Newberg as EGPOA's attorney.
Second.
Right, all in favor?
I don't want Marvin. I'm just joking, Marvin. I'm gonna leave you alone, brother. You're good.
After
You're
this
good.
last year,
Need Marvin. Yes, you do.
He might not want us.
Decide, everyone in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Any recusals, abstentions? Hearing none. Joel, you have your hand up?
No, I just unmuted him.
Joel, we can't hear you.
oh,
You're on mute.
I just wanted to talk about the accounting, that's all. But when you get to that, go ahead.
Collections agency is Marvin Newberg and ML Zager.
Well,
Looks confused.
they're doing like the smaller collections, I'll do.
Right.
Foreclosures or bigger ones, okay, yeah, all right,
We haven't used it in a while, but that's
yeah.
just the official, just in case we get challenged. It's on the minutes that
Okay, the name of the firm again?
Michael Ziegler.
ML Zager.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to retain that relationship and Marvin's for the larger violations items and foreclosures.
I think we need that to maintain continuity.
Yeah. Can you get a second?
Second.
Great, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any recusals, abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes. Yes, sir.
I have to go back to Wayne. I'm your official depositor,
Mhm.
so I have to be put on that as well.
Okay,
Motion.
so second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any recusals, abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes.
Pretty confusing, huh?
Sorry, but we are going fast. We're just,
I'm sorry.
okay,
I believe that is it.
okay.
Is there any questions so far that you have
Oh,
to what we're doing here, Beverly?
No.
Okay.
and lastly would be the accounting firm is RBT.
Before we take a vote on that, I've been asking for fund balances all year, and we don't have them. So I don't know if they're not giving them to Dan, but if they're not going to give them to Dan, then I think we got to put them on notice. If they don't give us this information, we need to make a change. Because it's nuts that we don't have fund balances for the whole year.
And we probably want to, whatever ask we ask our accounting firm, we want to give them a due date, and if they can meet it, cool, and if they can't, they should provide us an alternative date. So.
I'm just saying the whole year. It's a whole year I've been asking for this information.
Okay, let's let Michael, weigh in.
Fund balance is for
Reserves.
the reserves. We
Yes.
have, it's in your report.
No, it's
that
not.
She gives us.
No, it's not here. We haven't been getting it. We haven't gotten it all year. I want it on a cash basis. So basically what should happen is that the reserve balances, when
I
they're
know
all,
how, I get how that works, but we've been getting that report, so I'll make sure you get it.
okay, we haven't gotten it.
You guys haven't gotten it, but I believe it's been in our reports. It was before she went on a maternity leave. She gave us that report.
Well, the question was initially, when you roll into the new year, you're supposed to fund the reserves with your budget on the accruals, right?
No, I don't want it on accrual. I want it on a cash basis. Because
I'm talking about opening the year. And then at some point, you should see it go from 0 to whatever the dollar amount is. I think what Joel's talking about is it's still showing 0 on those reserves.
There's a separate report. He's talking about a separate report that.
And what I'm requesting is that report become a standard report that we get in our board package, because that's the only way we're gonna get it. It's a standard schedule they give you, listing all the balances, what it is.
Well, if you want to get into this, fine, but you can pick an accountant firm. If you're not happy with them, you can always change them. You're not signing up with a contract, so. I mean, you don't.
So what I'm saying is I want a commitment, because we've been hearing about this. I've been requesting this all year, and it's 12 months now, and I haven't received one schedule.
So I guess my question to you, and Joel, excuse my ignorance, is there a reason why you're asking for that, or and I'm just asking purely off of ignorance? What is the pressing reason or justification for that ask?
Because I want to know how much money we've collected and we actually have to spend on things, so that, you know, we can say that you have X amount of dollars in the reserve, and that's fine, but you might be short in another area. So this is the only way you know how much money we have sitting in our reserves and different things like that. Otherwise, you're operating blind.
From Joel's perspective too, I mean, he's on the finance committee, so, I mean,
no.
He should have the same access. I just haven't seen those communications outside. I know he says he's asked them for a year. I just haven't seen those messages personally.
I've asked every board meeting.
Yeah, but I think let's formalize that request. Let's formalize that request and just ensure that I'm cool. I'm like Marvin.
This doesn't have to be hard. We can.
I agree.
Joel, and if we don't get an answer in 30 days, then we'll entertain proposals.
I'll get it tomorrow.
I think that's fair, Joel. I think we should definitely make sure that, and if it goes for anyone, if anybody's asking for anything from the accountant, or, I mean, we pay them.
You can't go directly to.
No, if anybody's asking for anything.
I'm not.
This is something we get. It's just we'll fix that problem. You'll have it tomorrow morning. It was in our last report. I will get it to you.
Okay, great. Drop it and move on.
Okay, so the question.
Wait, become a standard schedule in the monthly reporting package that we get for the board.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. Along with the job cost, whatever's left on the job cost.
On the job cost, what the.
They used to get a job. They used to generate a job cost report off the system. So the same thing.
It's all in there. We'll get it to you, Joel. It's in our reports. I'll give it to you.
Thank you.
Okay, question on the table is retention of the accounting firm.
So I'll motion to keep them.
I'll second. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed?
I oppose.
One opposed? Any recusals or abstentions? One recusal. With that, the motion passes. Any other organizational items we need to consider, Mr. Manager?
No, thank you.
Okay, the other board members wish to address? I will ask for a motion to go to executive session.
Motion. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Recusals, abstentions, hearing none. All right, so we're gonna, the board meeting will continue in executive session to discuss legal or personnel matters. I'm gonna end the recording and ask the folks who are on the Zoom to please drop off. We'll give you about 60 seconds to do that.